I try to, you know, show the good with the bad.
Yeah, all of it. The whole interaction.
It's I mean, I have spun certain stories, I would say, to make deputies or CHP officers look a little bit better than the actual interaction went. But yeah, like I think that kind of plays to.
Are you local?
Yeah, I'm from right up the hill.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't make it down here much though.
No.
No, it's too hot down here.
Yeah, it is hot today.
So you can bring in the,
We're good? All right, let me see where everyone is.
if you want to bring in the dog owner and their group, that way I can talk to them for a minute.
Okay, I was told not to speak to them, so let me get staff to do it.
Okay, yeah, they can come on in.
Okay.
So where are you normally at?
Oh, up the hill.
Up in Truckee or Colfax?
That area, yeah. Placer County.
I agree.
Like the actual Placer part of Placer County.
Oh, Placer County.
Yeah. It's
I'm out of Calgary.
oh, for sure. Yeah, Placer is named after the type of mining that used to be popular here.
Right.
It's like, and it's all up that way. Like not so much like the Rockland, Roseville area.
That's just all suburbs.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's bonkers, man. I never realized how agoraphobic I was until I went down the hill and I could like see for miles and miles. Like I'm used to looking that way and there's like a tree or
Yeah.
a mountain.
It's like, I told him, I stopped at the In-N-Out. I'm out of Wilseyville, which is a little tiny
Yeah.
white spot in the road. And I said, there was more people in In-N-Out than I think in the whole,
The one here.
yeah, the whole
I don't
town.
go to this one, it's way too crowded.
The whole
Yeah.
town of Wilseyville doesn't have that many people. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I feel you. My friends used to live out in Yuba County on the way from Grass Valley, Nevada City area.
Yeah.
In man, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's one of those towns. If you blink, you missed it. You're already through the town. Too late now.
I just can't live in places where I have to have propane for my heater and a septic system that I don't want to ever have to pay to clean.
That's the septic system. It's like, my neighbor just had his pump 21 years,
Yeah, how much?
$600.
Oh, that's not bad. What does it cost to clean that?
Huh?
How much does it cost when you gotta have them come in and clean all the sludge out?
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
$600 in your brand. And I told him, how long? He said, we built that house 21 years ago.
That's the first time it needed
And
service.
the first time it's ever needed
I just
service.
have visions of how I met
No.
your, the Effers movie,
Yeah.
Ben Stiller movie, and the whole leach field. Now, that's all in my head. It's like, oh, I don't wanna live like that. Who wants that?
No, and I don't mind propane because when the power goes out,
You still have.
I got hot water, I
You
can
got
run my
coffee
washer
machine.
dryer, I can run my oven.
Exactly.
And it's like,
It's expensive these days.
and
And that's, so is natural gas, so,
yeah, or electricity,
yeah.
right? Because you
But
gotta
if you're
have,
out in the country, you can put in a big solar panel.
I got too many trees.
You know, make it clear and you want to, or put it, mine's on the roof, but I live in the city, so it's not that big of a deal.
There's no such thing as too many trees.
Oh,
I hate seeing these new home developments and they come in and they just rip it all out. It's like, but it was pretty before.
yeah.
7 acres of really old forest. And we're right on the Montgomery River. I mean,
Oh,
walk out my back porch, I walk down, I hold a pan down there, I fish down.
oh, really? You're that close to the river?
Yeah, I own to the center of the river.
Is that trapping it?
If you ever want to come fishing, nobody fishes it.
Really?
Nobody. I never see,
Anyone out there?
9 years, I've seen one guy, the first year I moved up there. running a little night crawler, bouncing the
Yeah.
night crawler down the falls.
Yep, trying to catch anything in the pocket.
But maybe once a year, twice a year, I'll take I got a little ugly stick and I'll put a little rooster tail on there. And I'll walk it and I'll just catch and release. I've taken all the barbs off it. And I'll go through and it does me for a year.
Yeah. Should be entertaining. Yeah, I don't need to eat it anymore. I'm past that point.
I gold pan in it, right? Literally on our section river, I gold pan out there. Don't get much, but
Yeah, I know.
but when I'm going, usually every single pan has a little in it.
So it's accumulation over time.
Yeah.
You get your feet in the water and it's cool.
And the dog loves it, right?
I can see that.
Because she's a cattle dog, high energy, so every time I throw a rock to get it out of my way, it's like, oh, new
I get it.
And
I
she,
got it, Dad.
and she stacks them, right? It's so funny. There's all these rock piles. By the end of the summer, she's got all these rock piles, these little pyramids built all over the place. Because every rock's got to go in its spot.
Does it auto rotate and?
Oh yeah, it's this little guy is great. Like
Oh, that's cool.
I can turn it, I can like keep it
You
straight.
bounce up and down, it keeps it stable.
Yeah, it's got a pretty decent stabilization. It's I like it.
You got a lot of battery. I think this is going to be a multiple hour hearing.
Yeah, I do. I do.
I think we'll probably
this is just one battery
at least 2 hours.
for sure.
I think a lot of people don't like stuff.
There's a lot of people out there.
Good. I don't know. I had the most people I ever had at a hearing was a dog bite in Leisure Town. And the whole Leisure Town all showed up with their pitchforks like that to the dog. And it overwhelmed the police department.
Yeah, there's not enough room. They just give you a little meeting room.
Yeah, they give me that little meeting room.
Let's move you over to the,
They did. We ended up having every, how tight that community is out there. Every single person wanted them.
what was the code enforcement officer name? Was it Jill?
He still is, I think.
She's still there?
I haven't done a hearing for them and they've been quiet in over a year, but yeah, no, she's
She's still there.
nice.
I always worked well with her.
Very efficient. She's really nice to the public.
As you should be.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's just, because on that code enforcement, you really end up with some sad cases sometimes.
I remember when they called us because they thought they had a dead body on the field.
It is. They have updated a
Hello.
lot of the,
So we have people coming in.
This is Officer Dawson, Dan Dawson.
Dawson,
Hi.
I think I talked to you. I'm sorry, I'm Sarah and Health Insurance.
Okay.
Well, how many of you guys do you have?
There's 3 of them.
I talked to two.
Okay.
One. Where do you want to? Okay, I'm not.
Put her on this side, so
You want to switch sides?
let's switch sides.
I would if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
No discrimination against left-handed people. It's fine.
You got doggos.
If I was a student and they.
Here's my card.
Thank you. I don't use that.
That's fine.
We
I
have, I'm not
just-
withholding that.
I just started.
It's good, it's what you do.
We discussed outside that we are going to have all witnesses excused and bring them in one at a time when it's their time to
Actually, that's a
testify.
really good way to do it.
That's fine.
I'm sorry, I reminded you.
Oh, I'm sorry, this
And
is
there-
Samson Carlos.
Hi.
I'm going.
Nice to meet you.
I didn't shoot.
You did?
I did not shoot it.
I think she's.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sorry?
Some people are.
No, you can stay. Well, I guess,
It's okay, 'cause I'm
I didn't write down your name, I already forgot.
Sarah Lettis, one word.
Sarah?
Yeah, S-A-R-A, no H, L-Y-N-N, and then Mandel like Howie, or not Howie,
Oh, you're
M-A-N-D.
related to Mandel.
Yes, but not Howie, unfortunately. Well, maybe fortunately. Are we allowed to have our popcorn? 'Cause-
Absolutely. This is very informal.
Okay, well, we dressed up, so.
Yeah, I did too. I put a tie on.
I
It doesn't
see.
happen tomorrow. But I mean, as far as how we take evidence and stuff like that, I don't want anybody to be nervous. I just want,
Oh, good.
I just want people, you can ask them questions and I just want people to tell their story and what's going on. So
Okay, I'm not familiar with this, process for animal services. I've been at administrative hearings and arbitrations and
Yeah.
things, so I was making her answer the question, but, so I don't know like how we proceed or anything, so if you'll just tell me when
So-
you get there.
what we're going to do is
I'm listening.
she's gonna start and she'll bring in her witnesses one at a time.
Okay,
They'll tell me what's going on or she can ask them questions either way. And then when she's done, if you've got some questions for them, you can ask the question.
and how do you handle objections?
We shouldn't have any objections really because there's almost no rules for,
I saw that.
yeah,
No,
her-
no, I'm sorry, not objections, I would never like say something to the witness, I object to you.
right,
There's some evidence we're getting objections to.
okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, in administrative hearings, I allow almost all evidence. Because,
I'm making a record.
Huh?
I'm making a record.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, and
I can't do that if I don't object, but.
I know.
So,
And so, very informal,
okay,
and I just want to get information so I can make a good decision.
and my understanding is you don't decide today.
No.
Because, I'm sorry, when we start, is this a logistics time?
This is fine.
Yeah.
So
I-
again, it's a very informal hearing, so.
I know, but then last time I was told that, seriously, the last time I was at an informal hearing, that's pretty horrible, so,
Oh,
that's
no.
fine. I have a behaviorist trainer with over 20 years, not, well,
Very good.
I'm not throwing him at you. He needs to evaluate the dog. He works full time. I just found him through some rescues. He could do it Saturday. Do I need to continue? Do I need to ask permission? I need
Oh,
to-
so he wants
I
to
need
look,
to submit
he
that.
wants to look at the dog?
Not look at him, he's gonna evaluate him.
Evaluate the
That's
dog?
what he's gonna do.
That's, I don't know what your guys' rules are about evaluating, but I have no issue with it.
I also have no issue with it, I would just have to run it up the flagpole,
Okay.
And we'll give you
liability,
his-
his insurance is,
Okay.
there may be, I have no issue with it at all. Just in case there's an injury that occurs or something
sign
happens, I
waivers.
wanna run it up to risk management
Okay.
and dot my Ts and, oh wait, that would be dotting my Is and crossing
Well,
my
but
Ts.
I also want you to know who he is, and he's very well known, and he's
Okay.
very good, and.
Do you know his name offhand? I'm just
Yes,
curious.
his name is, sorry, I have hundreds of names.
That's okay, it's like the
Oh.
hundreds of
And
codes we
I'm
have.
old, so just give me a second.
Sorry.
Yes, his name is, he was recommended by, NorCal University. You
Okay,
guys know who they are.
I know,
North
actually, I know them, I just don't
also
know who
have
he's.
Leslie at NorCal.
Leslie and Anna, I know them very well.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's who recommended him, she's been using him for years. So
Okay.
that doesn't mean you have to accept what he says, but he has credentials.
Yeah, I was just curious if you knew his name offhand, because we know
I'm gonna
most
give
of
it
the.
to you.
And we would also, the only caveat to that is that we have to coordinate it because Saturdays, I don't know that we necessarily have the staff to accommodate that on a Saturday.
That's the
Right.
only
But
thing.
we
Yeah.
can work on that and.
Yeah, logistics we'll have to figure out
see
that
what we
way
can
too.
figure out.
Thank you, yeah, we don't wanna disrupt things, it's just we want
Yeah.
somebody, I had other people that weren't qualified like he is, and so I just got him. And, sorry, will you allow me, cause I'm thinking about 1,000 things,
Yes.
can I get you the name, but not at
Yes.
this minute, cause I have to go through emails.
Of course.
And, do you know who he is?
No,
Could you introduce?
he's the film guy.
He's just recording it for,
You-
Oh, no, it doesn't
No,
say,
no, we-
I thought it said
Whatever.
film guy.
For his operations.
Is he for you guys, or for us? I'm
Me.
for us.
For us.
Oh, but I want you
Oh,
to know
us?
why he was here,
Oh.
oh, that's
or who
fine.
he was, okay.
Oh.
I didn't know who he
I-
was.
I don't know either.
I've already spoke to him.
It's open to the public,
Yeah.
So we just assumed he was a
Alright,
member of the
I
public.
just wanted to make sure you didn't, I'll have to know what's in it.
Oh.
No.
Alright,
Thank
so
you.
I will let you know, I will put my phone on silent, but I will let you know that name, and I'm happy to work how you want to, I'm.
We can talk more after.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
come also, but I know I can't contact the dog. I have to be here to see what he's doing,
Oh, okay.
I will not enter.
Oh,
I'll
gotcha.
sign, I'm a lawyer.
Okay, I hear you. Not a problem.
Lawyers should never say I'll sign whatever you. Okay, sorry, sir.
Oh, no.
I'm just silencing my phone, but
So, and you haven't done these hearings, so all I'm looking for is A, does it meet the criteria in city code, in county code of a dangerous or vicious animal, right?
Right.
Not by what we say dangerous in the dictionary, but what it says in the code.
Yep.
And if I get through step A, and yes, it does, then in B, all I'm concerned with is how we protect the public and prevent other occurrences in the least obtrusive way.
Okay, are you prepared, sir, for legal arguments based on special laws in California? I know you've been doing this, so I'm stupidly asking.
Yeah, you,
I am basing this on law.
and those are the only two things, and that's the
That's
only,
all you have to do, okay?
that's, so I narrow it down to make it really simple, like, what doesn't meet the criteria, and then, what do we need to do? So I'm really interested in stuff like what your plans are. If you get the dog back, what are your plans? How are you gonna keep the dog, right? Because if you look in county code, sorry, I just want to bring this in county code, they've got a bunch of shalls in there, right? It says you shall have a kennel, you shall have this, you shall have that, right? So I don't have any choice on any of those things because they're all shalls. And so, having an appropriate place to keep the dog, having a place to put the kennel, what plans are for keeping the dog if you get it back is really important to me.
Okay, isn't an option also that you would be considering that we, get him released without conditions? Isn't that also an option? Even if you,
No.
also it's just these two things.
Because if he's declared a dangerous dog according to county code, I have to do shall.
But
Oh, yeah, the other thing is, I could say it doesn't meet the criteria at all, right? We sit there and say, hey, guess what? It was provoked or whatever it was, and in which case we wouldn't even get to step B.
that's, I just wanted to confirm
Yeah,
that, so that it wasn't,
Yeah.
I didn't know what
Yeah.
gets shoveled over to the Superior Court or what.
No, and then, of course, 5 days after you get mine,
Right.
you got that part down, so I don't get the final word ever,
Well, you do,
administratively.
but it's still final word. I'm sorry, you're important, okay?
I know.
I want to convince you too, okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, you wanna go?
Well, before we dive in, just again, logistics, I will have my witnesses probably sit here next to me. There's just not a room for them to go to like a separate witness table.
Oh,
And then Jasmine can testify from there. I don't know if you want your other witnesses
People can
next.
testify sitting down,
whatever
standing
you're
up.
comfortable. We
Huh?
do have one who, you, and
Anna?
Yes,
one of our witnesses, does have, a lot of trepidation. I just wanna give you a heads up. He's very attached to the dog and he's emotional, so he knows what he needs to do. But
We'll work through it.
I told him, it's okay to get a little upset, but.
Yeah, it happens. I mean,
I'm just letting you know.
we're dealing with people's pets,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Well, he's not the owner, but he is.
Yeah, but still,
He's my ESA,
No,
so he's more than
He was
that.
listed as the owner, we're just trying to let you know.
okay.
All right, yes.
Any other housekeeping stuff?
One other, my victim is very traumatized by this event.
Yes.
And is, very concerned about being around, other animals, other dogs.
Okay,
So that is one of the reasons why we have asked for all witnesses to remain outside.
okay.
There is a gentleman here who does have 2 service dogs, but he is not a witness. I would just like to ask him to excuse himself with his dogs
For the one
for the
witness?
one week,
Yes.
while my.
Will that be a
witness
problem,
testifying.
No,
Just,
Oh, you're
just,
right here, we're talking about you.
I
yeah,
know,
yeah, just,
with a little clarification.
Sure.
One's a service dog, the other one's a service dog in training.
yeah, that's fine, but just the one witness because of this,
Yeah, I can appreciate
the
that.
trauma.
Okay.
Other than that, you're very welcome.
Well, thank you.
100%. You can either go out that door or you can go out this door.
You showed me the way out.
I know,
Oh.
I'm just saying,
I'll
whichever
open
door
it
you'd
for
like
you.
to excuse.
I just don't want them passing.
So let's go out this door.
Yeah, we'll go out to the side, and we'll come around and we'll bring the witness in this.
Yeah, and then we'll
I'll
bring
loop
you
it
back.
around.
Thank you for being accommodating.
I
Well,
appreciate that.
Well, you're accommodating to me.
Well, I should,
Goes
I
both
should
ways.
say, I considered making him a witness, but I want to say that he's here as, a member of the public, which probably means you can't ask him any questions, but he is a assistant dog trainer who's been doing this many years, so he takes
And then if you
advice.
want to provide, if you want him as a witness, you can at this.
Do you wanna be a witness?
And if
I'm not prepared,
you've
but
got
I'll-
questions and it's relevant to those,
Yeah.
relevant to those two things I'm focusing on, right? Because I know that, I got all the stuff, that the pictures and the support letters and all that. I don't want to get too deep into that stuff because it doesn't help me out with the incident,
And I understand that.
and it doesn't help me out with what we're doing further down the line. I appreciate this.
Except temperament is relevant.
Yeah, temperament is relevant, but I want to keep it narrow on
We don't wanna spend all day going through
the
letters.
dog, the
I
dogs.
wanted you to have them,
Yeah.
because you're making the decision and you have a
Oh,
copy.
I'm gonna read it. I've read most of the letters already. I'm gonna read
I
every
do
one of the
not
letters.
intend to go, okay, number one, because it would be more. But, they are, we want you to know that the public is the community is very much, loving and following them.
I appreciate that.
So, okay, two other very quick
Yeah.
ones. I have two officers who are my main, two of my main witnesses that have a 3:00,
Oh,
We have a seizure.
seizure that they have to be at, so they have to leave here at 2:45.
No, I don't have to.
So,
so
Jim
you want
first.
Michael first?
Yeah, Officer Meisel and Officer Post are the two that have to respond to that at 3:00.
Okay,
I
so
also
Jim, you get a chance to cross, and then
And
I'll
then
release them.
if they need to leave, then they, so we won't have them for, recall or anything like that.
Okay.
I also have, an eyewitness, the new one that I sent you this morning that I just learned about. She has a conflict, so I'm actually gonna call her first,
There you go.
because she rearranged her schedule, to be.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not get that email, this is happening a lot. What, no, it's okay, just tell me, I'm sorry, what is you?
She was a witness, she was at the Dollar Tree, she had been shopping at the Dollar Tree and was in her car and witnessed the incident.
Okay.
And when you emailed me saying you hadn't received
That
it,
wasn't the one. There was another email in there, so you sent it to me, I don't know what's going on. Okay, that's fine. I trust you, okay.
I do have her witness statement.
Can I see that?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, sorry, no objection. We also told her,
Yeah.
did I? Sorry, did I tell you that one of the witnesses, no, I told Anna. One of the witnesses has cancer and was in the I didn't know she was in the hospital,
Yeah.
so she cannot travel, she's had radiation.
She can, written statement,
Okay, if you, later, or
she can phone me,
she said we could phone her. Oh, she can.
you can give her my cell phone number,
Okay.
because I'm gonna hold off a couple days on making my decision
Yeah.
anyway, because until you guys work this thing out over the weekend, see if you can work out the dog trainer coming in.
Yes, it's.
And so,
Yes.
I'll let me know by like Monday or so, but I try to get these things done as quickly as possible, because I don't like the dog to be in
That's
here.
how we feel.
And so,
That
I,
sounds like we're delaying it, but we really
No.
want the behaviors.
no, I work really fast, I think. And, because I, when the dog's in custody, I really want to get the process through, because it's not the best environment.
It's not, I think everybody agrees that, and the shelter's so full, so, I do, sorry, Sarah, I have some questions for you, you want me to wait till formally start?
Well, let me start the recording and,
Yeah, you ready?
yeah.
Oh, good, we weren't on, my jokes went on there, good.
No, we were being patient.
Sorry, so.
You should get the request.
Got it?
Recording in progress.
There we go. Okay, and I'm Dwayne Kite. I'm going to be the hearing official for this case.
Miss, want to come in? Wife. Yes.
For the counsel for the county like to introduce himself, please?
I am Danica McClelland, I'm Deputy County Counsel here for Placer County, representing Animal Services in this matter.
And I'm Sarah Lynn, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm Sarah Lynn Mandel, am I supposed to be looking somewhere? Sorry. Wasn't it? I'm Sarah Lynn Mandel, I'm attorney, for the plaintiff, for the dog's owner, Jasmine Marla.
Is there any objections to me hearing this case?
I have questions,
Absolutely.
I don't object yet. I have questions, please.
Yes.
So, you are remarkably absent from the internet, did you know that?
People don't complain about me a whole lot.
It
That's a
wasn't
good thing.
complaints, you're just not even there. I know very few people like that, so, congratulations, actually. So I have a question, if I've been told by the.
It's I'm okay either way.
Would you like me to give you my qualifications?
Well, she gave me some, but I have specific questions, I'll save a little time.
Sure.
I know you wanna, okay. I know that you have been hearing, officer in administrative hearings here, what I don't know is how, roughly, how many have involved pit bulls in this type of, assessment for dangerous,
Oh.
potentially dangerous conditions?
Dozens and dozens of them, because, and I'm gonna let people know, I don't allow people to even bring that up inside my hearings. I don't care about the breed of the dog. Because in my experience, and I've been doing dog hearings for over 10 years. In my experience, big dogs do big damage, little dogs do little damage, and that's the end of it. So I don't let people talk about breeds
Okay, good.
and stuff like that because it's not relevant.
Can I ask you about, this is a little bit hard to ask, but your legal experience, this is case laws and laws, regulations. I would assume these hearings you come, I'm just concerned, you're not a lawyer, you're not
No.
a judge, and that's typically what I've had in these hearings. So how acquainted are you with, can I ask for some specifics, the agriculture code, the food and agriculture code?
I'm just the parts of it that I've read
Yes.
pertaining to dangerous dogs.
What about the Placer County regulations for these hearings?
Yes.
Okay, what about, I'm trying to think of how, I sent you the bill that's, passed this.
I saw that. I haven't had a chance to review it.
It's okay, I just want you to be aware of that.
Okay.
And, what are the other laws that I just wanna make sure you at least have something in your, since you're, do you feel comfortable arguing statutory interpretation,
I will do my best.
please?
I've been doing I've done almost 1,000 hearings.
Jeez.
I've been trained as a senior hearing officer, as a hearing officer, senior hearing officer. In addition, for 7 years, I was auditing other people's hearings for
Okay, so.
issues with
Okay.
due process and stuff like
You
that.
are very experienced, there's nothing on the net about you.
No.
So it's very hard to think on Danica was really kind, maybe some of that, but
I-
you can understand my concern
Yeah.
because I wanted to be able to make legal arguments and statutory interpretation.
And I will do, I'm not an attorney, but
Right,
if you put it in plain English, I'll try and figure it out.
okay, well, that's my job as an advocate, so I'll try, okay. Okay, oh, sorry, are we ready? Yeah.
So let's see here. This hearing is informal, not conducted according to technical rules relating to evidence and witnesses. I would ask the person speaking to be able to continue without interruption. I expect all involved to treat each other respectfully. I think we've kind of already gone over it, how we're going to produce the evidence. This is well, direct exam, cross-exam, and redirect exam. Because it's an administrative hearing, the rules for testimony and evidence are informal. Any oral or documentary evidence may be received. I shall provide for the exclusion of non-relevant, immaterial, or repetitious evidence. Hearsay evidence is admissible if I determine the statements are relevant, probative, and trustworthy. Okay? And I'm ready to start with witnesses.
Do you want opening statements?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I just think it would be helpful.
Yeah.
It might answer some questions for both of you.
Very
because,
good. Yeah.
I have noticed that there seems to be a focus on the severity, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Severity of the wound. We are not, that is not our argument. Okay, I want to be clear, I understand what you might think it is, but I have been working with experts across the country and really refining what the issues are here. And I want to say that we disagree and I will make those comments as the evidence is presented. We don't necessarily agree with the rating and the descriptions of the, the depictions of the wound. And I will say some things about why and what you said, but that is not our argument. Okay, it would save time if we could all understand that we are not saying that this case should be decided on the severity of the wound, and we're not challenging the fact that, I can't pronounce his name.
Mr. Riccoboni?
That Mr. Riccoboni was bitten and that it was a serious bite. We are not challenging that, so we're not gonna, if we have to, we don't have to spend, we can spend as much time as you want, but
Right.
I didn't think you might be clear on that, because that's not, haven't had much exchange. We're focused on the criteria and the regulations of the law, which I think we have.
Is what I'm
So
looking
we
at.
don't necessarily have to spend time,
It's not a whodunit.
no, it's not, did you get injured?
Right.
Was he bitten?
Was
Did
he
you have to go
bitten?
to the hospital, all that, we do not challenge any of that.
So essentially, we are stipulating that the injury was a severe injury
No,
to meet the criteria of the
absolutely
code?
We are saying we agree it's a serious injury. But what I'm saying is that's not the focus of my arguments. No, I'm not stipulating that. I'm stipulating that Mr.
Riccoboni.
I'm gonna write that. Mr. Riccoboni was bit, and that it is bitten, and the bite is a serious bite. That's as far as we're gonna go. So, you'll see why I have more to say on this, but that's not we have a legal law-based statute. I thought it, just say that's where
Very
we're going. We don't think the situation meets the criteria under either, potentially dangerous or vicious.
Okay.
That's our position.
I'm just trying to wrap
Okay.
my brain around what your
Argument is?
what you're saying. So you are agreeing that
The bite was serious.
the bite was serious.
We don't agree to a level or some, that sedation at this point, I don't even know if you're using the number.
So what does code say, severe?
The code
Serious
says
injury.
a severe injury.
Yeah, we're
Severe.
not necessarily agreeing with that, but that's not the thrust of our argument. You'll see as we go.
Okay.
We make the argument, but no, please don't say that we stipulate this. I can't do that.
No, and that's fine. that's why I was trying to get clarification on
And
what
again, I know it's a
exactly
bit of, yes,
you're
but-
saying.
so again, we are focused on not meeting the elements under the law for,
But the injury, the severity of the injury is one of the elements.
it's not the most important, yes, it is.
So- We'll figure that out as we go through it.
I hear you.
I'm just not sure that I was gonna modify my witnesses and my evidence if we're not focusing
Well-
on the injury, but if you're saying that the severity of the injury remains an issue, then I don't see how I can modify my presentation.
Well, that's one of my questions. There is a Dunbar line scale. Are you using that? Do you use it?
Not familiar with it.
It's a California standard for assessing bites by dogs. It's used in all these cases. Okay, well, I have it. I gave it.
What I usually go by is the penal code standard
Okay.
of what a severe injury is.
Would you look at the Dunbar scale that
Yeah,
I
you can
just
send
sent?
it to me.
Because it's very helpful and it is widely.
Yeah.
It was in the document.
Yeah, I brought you, I actually brought some copies in case we got all messed
I
up.
don't recall seeing
But-
it.
Typically, my standard is
Well, let me see.
is the definition that's in the penal code is what I've always gone along with.
I'm sorry.
Of a injury, serious injuries.
No, the technical, they have an analysis of aspects of the wound.
I'll review it. Yes,
There's no state requirement that says that we have to use the Dunbar scale.
Correct.
It was something that was more just for Danica and yours knowledge. It was something that was created in the animal world so that everybody could use the same verbiage and understand and be on the same page of a level 1 to a level 5, 5 being the worst, 1 being the least severe, but there's no rules or regulations that say that it has to go by that.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
Yes,
and
just
to go
clarifying for
reverse on what I
council.
said, we're not gonna argue the number scales.
Hey,
She presents her case first, right?
Yeah.
I mean, see, I'm trying to go, our goal is to save Apollo, that's just easy, that's our goal.
Okay.
And we don't believe that there's some problems with the evidence and some things like that. But the main point that we want to stress, and we will appeal, is that it doesn't meet the requirements under the law for, an unprovoked attack. There's our case, there you go, there you go.
Okay.
That's our case.
Okay,
you go.
well,
You have an opening statement?
my opening, I do have an opening statement. The evidence will show that on June 5th of this year at approximately 3 p.m., Giuseppe Riccobono attempted to enter the Dollar Tree on Grass Valley Highway in Auburn. He attempted to walk into this, as he attempted to walk into the store, a large dog jumped up on him, bit his abdomen. Mr. Riccobono was able to push the dog away, but the dog then bit Mr. Riccobono's right forearm and knocked him down, causing Mr. Riccobono to hit his head and lower back on the cement. Mr. Riccobono was unable to get up, and the dog remained latched onto his arm. A man unknown to Mr. Riccobono then reprimanded the dog and eventually removed the dog from Mr. Riccobono. Mr. Riccobono requested a bystander call 911, and he was transported to the emergency department. A witness to this event, Ms. Viscara, was shopping at Dollar Tree and witnessed the event, and she will testify that the attack was completely unprovoked. Mr. Riccobono had no contact or interaction with the dog prior to the attack. Mr. Riccobono suffered serious injuries as a result of the dog's bite. He suffered puncture wounds to his abdomen and an injury to his right forearm that is described in the medical records as an avulsion or almost degloving injury. The dog caused the injuries to Mr. Riccobono. The dog that caused the injuries to Mr. Riccobono has been identified as a dog named Apollo. At the time of the incident, of Mr. Gary Mitchell, with the permission of Apollo's owner, Jasmine Marler. We think the evidence will show by a preponderance of evidence, which is the current standard at this time, that Apollo is a vicious dog under Placer County Code, section 6.08.030, which defines a vicious dog as any dog which, when unprovoked, in an aggressive injury on or kills a human being.
I'm ready for your first one.
And my first witness is going to be Ms. Viscara. Thank you.
Sorry, really quick, Jasmine, when was looking for your car keys, do you have them on you?
Yes.
May I give that to him, he needs to get some, big car, of course. Gary. Is she gonna do this?
Yeah, okay. I think she was flagged down for the car keys on her way to get the witness.
Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me.
I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So when this is over and you render your decision, I understand we can appeal to Superior Court. Is that, it's not, you can appeal to Superior Court. So
No, it's a rehearing.
So, we request reconsideration, is that what
I know that the people that have,
I should probably ask you, but.
they just,
Remembering how the procedure is, because I don't usually file it, I respond to them.
Right.
I wanna say there's actually a judicial council form, it's in the food and ag code, you can bring.
Well, I have a appeal document that actually doesn't, it uses his address, and that doesn't make sense.
typically I've got, without attorneys, most of the time I do these, there's no attorneys involved. And the person just walks down to Superior Court, I tell them, just walk down to Superior Court, go up to the desk, bring the document, and tell me you wanna appeal this, and they will.
Alright, I'll call a clerk.
Yeah, and they know the process, and they've got a pretty short time limit on it.
I think it's 5 days, but thank you, I just, not familiar with that.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's a rehearing, it's not an
Well, that's
appeal.
good, cause appeals are pretty intensive.
It's a trial dinner.
It's a trial dinner.
Right, I saw that. I did, I'm sorry if I did you.
Okay.
Do you wanna swear in all witnesses?
Yeah, I'm going to swear you. Okay, and remember, this is, to be relaxed, this is a formal. Do you solemnly state that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
And what's your name?
Talaya Viscara.
Do you want me to spell it for the record?
I would appreciate if both of you would, send me an email with the name, correct spelling of your witnesses' names, so for my document.
Yeah, I could actually.
Yeah,
I'm not-
at some
I had it,
point.
I already have it, I can send it.
Yeah.
And what else do you want on it, the name and what else?
That's it. Just the correct spelling, because I'll probably hack the name up pretty bad. And then, okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mrs. Farah, were you at the Dollar Tree on Grass Valley Highway in Auburn on June fifth around 3 p.m.?
Yes,
And at that time, did you witness a dog bite incident?
yes.
And can you explain what you saw?
You want me to explain where I was and everything? So I was actually pulling my car out of the parking spot, which would have been having me facing the store. And I had stopped to tell my daughter to put her seatbelt on because it wasn't on. And we were both looking ahead and we saw the two dogs break free from the man that was holding them on the leash and knock the other man, the victim, I'll say, to the ground and attack him.
And when you say attack, what do you mean?
I mean, the man was just walking and the dogs just lunged at him and knocked him over and started biting at him.
Did you see the dogs prior to them attacking?
I saw them when I had walked out of the store myself. I had noticed them.
And can you explain the dog's demeanor during the attack? In other words, did the dog walk up to the victim friendly, such as seeking attention, wanting to be greeted?
No, it was completely unsuspecting. The man was just walking and the dogs just lunged at him and knocked him over to the ground. And then there was just blood. I remember my daughter going, "Oh my God, Mom, there's so much blood." I put my car in park and I called 911.
Going back for just a moment to the dog's demeanor, on this, on this a scale, I guess, you could say, friendly being 1, aggressive being 10. On that scale, how would you classify the interaction between, or the dog's demeanor in interacting with the victim?
An 11. It was, like I said, it was out of nowhere. He was just walking and the dogs just lunged at him and knocked him over like he was on the ground. He was walking and then he was on the ground. There was no in between anything. And the dogs broke free from the man that was holding them.
Did you notice the victim interact with the dog at all?
No.
Did you notice the victim call out to the dog or in any way try to get the dog's attention?
No.
Okay, so you called 911, and what happened after you called 911?
The dispatcher was, asking me about the condition of the victim, were they conscious, etc. I saw another person walk over on his phone, and then there was another woman with a dog. And then the man that was holding the dogs, he pulled one of them off and walked it to the side car, came back and pulled the second one off, walked it to the side car. At that point, the dispatcher had explained to me that emergency services were on the way. I had rolled my window and I drove up and I rolled my window and I talked to the woman that had the small dog and I was like, is he okay? And she said, I don't know. And then my daughter said, oh my God, Mom, he's driving away. The guy with the dogs that attacked is driving away in that van right now. And so I followed him and I called 911 back to explain that I was following him.
Okay, and where did you follow into?
He drove around back of the building and he proceeded to stay behind the buildings for the most part, which would put him like behind, I think that's Rayleigh's and the Goodwill and all those. And then eventually he ended up on the main road, but went through the parking lot of the other shopping center that's, I forget what that's, Old Navy's over there, I think, Michael's and all that. And then he crossed over and went into Target parking lot. And he circled around the Target parking lot a couple of times. We actually were worried that maybe he saw us following him, so we just parked and kept an eye on him. And then he ended up pulling on the side of Target. If you're facing the store, the left lot, he kind of backed into a corner. And I stayed on the phone with 911 to explain to him where he was located.
Okay. Do you know if both dogs were in the van when the van arrived at Target?
So I never personally saw the dogs in the van. It was a bigger van that didn't have a lot of windows in it.
The relevance of Gary, who's not charged here, and what is the relevance of the rest of his testimony going behind and doing all that stuff? He's not in charge.
The only reason I'm interested in it is making sure we have the right dogs.
I don't think we do, but
Okay, because she's following the dog from the attack, so.
that's fine. I think it's just getting off into negative comments about Gary and it's not relevant.
Okay, so I just wanna make sure that's why I'm interested in, is make sure that
Okay.
we got the right dogs, because she's
Yep.
following the
The
dogs.
only reason I just.
It's not
I
negative, it's
haven't
factual.
said anything about who the dogs were even with, so, okay, so.
No, I didn't say you.
Okay.
Not negative, it's factual, that's what I saw. We kept eyes on the vehicle and I shortly after saw a Subaru approach the vehicle and take one of the dogs.
And can you generally describe the dogs that you saw involved in the incident?
One was darker and one was lighter and the Subaru took the darker dog.
And were they big dogs, little tiny dogs?
I remember when I left the store before any of this happened. From my experience, the dogs that I'm very experienced, I think they were pit bull mixes or pit bulls.
Big dog, little dog,
Bigger dogs.
bigger dogs, okay. And so we have a light colored dog and a dark colored dog.
Correct.
And the dark colored dog
Got into
got
Subaru.
into the Subaru.
And the law enforcement had not arrived yet. I'd actually already hung up with them. She had told me they're on their way. But me and my daughter wanted to see it through, so we stayed. And then my daughter was like, oh my gosh, Mom, one of the dogs is leaving in that Subaru. And I'm like, I know. And actually at that point, there were officers coming from both directions. One had come in off of Bell Road entrance and one was coming in off of the back road entrance. And I had described to them where he was parked, so they were headed to that direction. They actually had to stop and wait for that Subaru to pull out so they could go in. And she's leaving with the dog. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the more cars came, animal control came. I saw another car coming. I got out of my car and I walked over to an approaching officer. I waved him down and I said, hey, one of those dogs just left in that Subaru that you guys had to stop for. And he got on the radio and continued, and then he took my statement. He pulled me over to the side and took my statement.
Okay. Going backwards a little bit to what you witnessed at Dollar Tree, the light colored dog and the dark colored dog, were they both aggressors in this attack?
Yes.
And would you be able to differentiate between the dogs, which one actually bit? Were you close enough to actually witness the bites?
The actual bites, I saw the act of them doing it, but I wasn't standing over them, no. I know that he was able to release the light colored dog sooner. It was the darker dog that was more involved, if you will. He came back to get that dog afterwards.
And was the dark dog still latched onto
Yes.
the victim?
Yes. I thought he was biting his abdomen is what it looked like to me. I think that's what I told the dispatcher on 911.
I don't have any further questions of this.
I do. Sorry, I did to have eye contact, shut this question into your head.
Yeah, you can, whatever's
Okay,
comfortable for
that's
you.
okay. Ms. Carr, I just have a couple of questions, and, I do appreciate the fact that you took a concern about the incident. I think that's appropriate. Well done. When did you were in the car, when did you first look over and see the setting, the dogs and not what time of day, when did you see them, right before the incident, during the incident?
During the incident, like I said, I had backed out of my parking spot. And it's a thing with my 17-year-old that she doesn't always put her seatbelt on, so I had stopped and I was like, put your seatbelt on. And I was looking straight ahead as it happened.
So you.
I saw the entire thing.
You saw the attack, did you see prior to the attack?
Yes, because we were sitting there for a minute.
Alright, so I'm sorry, what did you see prior to it?
The man was walking, I was just looking at the store, the man was walking, and out of nowhere, the dogs just knocked him over and were attacking him.
And you said he was walking into the store with the entrance.
Well, he was walking by. He was, I didn't see him going into the door, so I saw him walking by.
Okay, sorry.
It was near the entrance.
Well, it's not though, that's closed, the entrance is on the other side, so I just wanna make sure we're clear. I believe you saw this, I just wanna understand, did you see the position of the man relative to the trash can that was there in the table?
The table, you mean the man that was selling something? I think there was a guy that was out there selling something. Yeah, I believe the victim had just passed that table.
Did you see the trash can? I'm trying to position you, I know, it's not like I don't know. the
I don't
trash
think
can. I just wanna,
Yeah,
it sounds like you don't recall, that's okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. But so you saw him walk by the table, am I correct?
yes,
So at that time, where were the dogs? All three of
they
them?
were against the wall with the man,
The wall?
the building, like he was at the building.
He wasn't at the table. I just want,
No,
so if I'm picturing this, if he walked by the table and you said, I'm trying to understand, so he passed the table and you're saying that they came from the wall,
so
basically?
he wasn't like right in front of the table, the victim had just passed that part, the table would have been like over here, and the dogs would have been there. The dogs came from that area and just lunged at the man that was walking by.
We have a whiteboard here and some markers if you want.
Well, I have that,
If you want to like
I'd like to show her a picture.
draw it,
I should have done that instead of just saying, hey, remember the trash can, but let me show her a picture that I, that is a picture that was recreated by the other person who someone took a statement from, I don't know if it was animal control or, council, but there's a statement by somebody who did something. And so we have a picture that is part of evidence. So I guess the table with, where did it was? Here we go. Okay, here's a recreation, because this is not contemporaneous, I'm sorry, I'm gonna show it to you.
that's fine.
This is what we have, this is the table.
I have a color copy of that.
I'm gonna do that, okay.
We just printed it in color, what you sent me.
And I have color printed. Okay, you wanna look at color?
I don't know if the color picture will be.
Well, it's for easier, so can you show me
So the victim would have been coming from this direction, he just
on the
passed
side of
it.
the table,
Mhm.
and then he went here, right?
Mhm.
And then what? Oh, he said he was attacked here. Right, is that what you're saying, right here,
Right about there, yeah.
next to the trash can?
I suppose so.
Yeah, that's not
I lived
fitting in
in
your
from
hand.
over here.
Oh, you
I
were there?
lived in from over here.
Okay,
That's where I was.
and you saw
And I'm
when he,
looking at,
got it,
and he's to the ground, like he's was walking and then he's on the ground.
but you saw him walking.
Correct.
Mhm.
Mhm.
This is good.
You sent that one to me.
Yes, I did. There's evidence. Do you wanna have it?
Sure.
I need to get it.
It was also included in the, all of the documents that we sent in that box file.
Right, I'm not doing box file, okay. I did get the box file, I did get it. But I didn't,
We just printed the
I'll
opposite
find it.
direction.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
all right, let me just see, there's something in your statement I did wanna ask you about. Cause it's a little confusing to me. So, you said, sorry, somebody took this statement from you, right? You didn't write this.
No, I wrote it.
Okay, so you said she had not even come close to the scene yet, and her
Yeah.
dog was calm the entire time.
Yeah, when I rolled my window down after I hung up with 911, I was asking about the victim if he was okay, and there was this woman standing there with her dog. And she went on and she was like, what in the heck happened? She's like, the guy with the dogs is trying to say that it was my fault, that it was my dog. And I was like, you weren't even there yet. She was walking up as the attack happened.
So your comment is that the dog, the little dog, I think is the dog,
Correct.
did not provoke the attack.
No, not
Okay,
at all.
you can't, can we make that clear? Do you have this?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was also included.
Okay, I wanna call your attention to, again, because why, I didn't want you to dig it out, you don't have to keep this, but if you look here and read this, that's not what it says, and so I think we need to, for the record, just clarify that you're not, the woman's dog was one that didn't provoke the attack.
Correct.
Okay, that's, see,
Two dogs attacked was trying to say
that dog provoked the attack, so now
Well,
that means the little
the
dog.
little dog.
She
That
had
that
not
dog
even,
provoked
yeah,
the attack.
And we're talking about the little.
Okay,
Right, the dog that was hurt is the one I was speaking of just
very
prior.
good. Because we had multiple dogs, we just want to make sure which dog that was.
that her statement was.
The little dog.
Okay, thank you. Let me just double check. I think that's all that we have for Mrs. Barra. Thank you, by the way.
And I don't have any further follow-up questions,
We're done?
unless you have any questions.
No, I have no question. Excuse, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Will be, Officer Mizell.
Oh. Oh, anybody have an extra pen on the board? No pen or one pen? I thought I brought two. Oh gosh, see, it's not just me too. Oh, thank you very much. I steal them.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, now we all have extra pens. Give it together.
And what address do you want me to send my decision to? Would you rather have an email?
Oh, email's great.
Email's great.
I like to say.
I need your email address.
Oh, you don't have to.
I emailed you this morning.
Yeah.
But I don't mind.
It should be on there.
Yeah, send out.
Well, you're gonna email me your witnesses anyway, and then the spelling of your witnesses' names, and then I'll just reply to that with the
Yeah, it's
decision.
not my, I'm using it for this case. It's not an op, you know. it's not an-
All right, sir, you solemnly state that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
And just for the record, can you state your full name?
Full name is Dustin, Dustin, last name Mizell, Mizell.
And Officer Mizell, are you an animal control officer for Placer County?
Yes.
Can you just briefly describe your job duties as an animal control officer?
So I respond to stray and/or dangerous dogs out in the public. We respond to complaints for animal welfare, and I enforce all county and state ordinances regarding animals.
Do you also investigate any dangerous or vicious animal calls?
That is correct.
And did you respond to a dog bite incident at the Dollar Tree on Grass Valley Highway in Auburn on June 5th, 2025?
Yes.
And when you first responded, where did you go?
The first place I went to was Target.
And
why did you go to Target if the incident occurred at the Dollar Tree?
Because we had heard that Gary Mitchell had left the scene of the Dollar Tree and the deputies had found him at the Target parking lot.
And this, Mr. Mitchell had the dogs with him at the
Yes,
Target parking lot?
yes, that is correct.
Okay, and were you the first to arrive, in terms of law enforcement or animal control at Target?
So the deputies were already on scene, and then my partner, Officer Post, we both arrived at the same time, I believe. I parked first and got out and started talking to the deputies, and then he got out very shortly after that.
And when you say deputies, you mean Placer County
Correct, Placer County Sheriff.
Sheriff's Office? And you are familiar with Gary Mitchell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and while you were at Target, did you make contact with Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, I
And
did.
can you describe that interaction with Mr. Mitchell?
So upon making contact with Mr. Mitchell, he had his dog Lulu in the vehicle. I had asked him where Apollo was. Apollo was already in the owner Jasmine Marlar's vehicle. And at that point in time, I told him that we were investigating for, an incident that occurred with a gentleman. Gary stated he was aware of the incident. And I stated that, more than likely we're gonna be taking all the dogs into the shelter until we can figure out exactly which dogs were involved. That's when Gary stated to me that it was only Apollo that was involved and not Lulu. And that was pretty much my interactions with Mr. Mitchell at that time.
So did you take Mr. Mitchell's dog Lulu into custody,
No, we did not.
and why not?
So while I was there, Mr. Mitchell stated that, that Lulu was not involved. I had called my other officer, which is Officer Dawson, who was on scene at the Dollar Tree. I asked him to ask any of the parties that were there that witnessed it to see if Lulu was involved. He contacted Tedford Freeman. Tedford Freeman said it was only Apollo. Lulu was there and another dog. And so at that point in time, I told Officer Post that I'm going to go over to Southern Auburn Faith, make contact with the victim, just to verify that it was just the one dog that was involved in the incident.
So you then left the Target parking lot,
That is correct. I left the Target parking lot and went over across the street to Southern Auburn Faith.
and were there other law enforcement or animal control officers remaining at the Target parking lot?
Yes, there was my partner, Officer Post, was there with Gary and Jasmine. And then there was also, it started out with a lot of deputies, but by the time I left, there were still just 2 deputies, I believe, on scene. They had a call for an emergency to go to a different location. So there were still 1 or 2, I believe 2 deputies still on scene with Gary Mitchell and Jasmine and Officer Post while I was at the hospital.
Okay, and then were you able to make contact with the victim, Mr. Bono, at the hospital?
Yes, I went into the ER and I was able to contact Mr. Riccone in his room.
Okay, and did you witness the injuries to Mr. Rick Bono?
So I was able to see Mr. Riccone's stomach, and I could see that it was bruised and covered with blood, but his arm was already bandaged up, and the doctor had come in just shortly after I did and wanted to start working on treatment for him, so I did not actually see his injury
The
to
arm?
the arm.
Okay. Did you obtain a statement from the victim at that time?
Not at that time, the doctor wanted to go ahead and start the process of cleaning the wound.
Okay. Did you then reconnect with other animal control officers?
Yes, so I contacted the Officer Post, stating to me that, there was only a large gray dog that was involved. Not involved in the bites.
I'm sorry, I was distracted by the phone ringing. Could you repeat that? So
Yes.
after you made contact with Mr. Ricobono at the hospital, you then reconnected with other animal controls officers, and what happened?
So I stated to the other animal control officer, Officer Post, that Lulu is not involved in the incident, and Gary Mitchell is free to take Lulu away since she has not been deemed that she did any of the attack.
Okay, perhaps I missed something. So when you made contact with Mr. Ricobono, when I asked if he gave you a statement, perhaps I should have expanded upon that. Was he able to identify or give you information as to the attack and the dogs that were involved?
Correct, yes, he did give me a verbal statement. I'm sorry, I thought you were referring to a written statement.
Sorry.
He did give me a verbal statement. I was able to ask him which of the animals were involved. Mr. Ricobono stated that there were 3 dogs that came up towards him, but it was only the large gray dog that bit him in the stomach, and he put his hand down to take the dog away from his stomach, and the dog latched onto his right forearm, and that's how the dog took him down to the ground and he hit his head.
So then based on the victim's statement, you called Officer Boast and let him know that Lulu, Mr. Mitchell's dog, was not involved in the incident and allowed him to leave the area with Lulu.
Correct.
Okay. Are you familiar with Jasmine Marler?
Only for this incident.
And are you familiar with her dog Apollo?
Yes, I am.
And other than in this incident?
Other than this incident, yes.
And prior to this incident,
I object before he testifies.
Okay, so
2022, it's not relevant. And it's being introduced
So-
prejudice.
what was the incident in 2022?
Well,
Just so
I
that-
don't mind you saying what the incident is. I'm objecting to it being heard and it's not relevant and it's prejudicial. The incident was, there was no, how about this? When I ask his questions, I'll ask, there was no human bite. Okay, no human bite. There was a dog altercation.
The dog, so it was a dog altercation?
It was a dog versus dog altercation, that Apollo broke free from the leash that Gary Mitchell had him on, because Gary Mitchell is usually the one that takes care of Apollo during the day. So there was an altercation where Apollo broke free from the leash and went after another lady's dog that she was walking on the leash.
It didn't meet criteria of a dangerous animal.
It did not meet the criteria of dangerous animal, but we did educate Gary on the fact that, if another incident like this occurs, we will be moving forward with a potentially dangerous animal hearing.
Very good.
Okay, you guys asked like all of my questions on that one. Okay, so, and that incident report is in the documentation.
I see it on the
that was
activity
provided.
report.
And did you prepare the vicious dog petition in this matter?
Yes, it did.
And why did you have, what was the determination as to why he met criteria, why Apollo met criteria for a vicious dog to file this petition?
So the statute states that any severe injury to a human being will qualify and satisfy the requirements for a vicious dog hearing. Definition of severe is anything that requires suture, stitches, or surgery will be deemed severe. So therefore, the injury sustained to Mr. Ricobono's forearm that did require sutures, and depending on what will happen to his arm, potentially surgery, definitely meets the requirements of being a vicious dog, at least for a hearing for a vicious dog.
Okay. During your investigation, did you determine whether this event occurred on private property where the victim of the case was trespassing on that property?
I mean, it's a public area, so everyone is allowed to go into the Dollar Tree. Just like you or I would be able to walk freely into a store. So no, there was no trespassing.
And did you determine during your investigation whether the dog Apollo was protecting or defending a person from an unjustified attack or assault?
No, the victim was just simply walking into the store. He was unaware that the dogs were even there. He was walking in to check on his wife to see what was going on with her in the store, and then the dogs came out of nowhere and attacked him.
And during your investigation, did you determine whether there was any provocation to this attack by the victim?
Again, as I stated before, the gentleman was just walking by, did not know the dogs were there. He did not provoke the dog in any manner. He was just simply walking by when he was attacked.
And no further questions.
I've got several questions for him, but I do first want, because it's gonna get lost. I object to the testimony of Mr. Carlo. Several witnesses have said there was only one dog attacking. I'm concerned about Lulu getting drawn into it by this witness. So for the record, we had three people saying that she was not involved. Mr. Carl said she was.
These are just witness statements, so that I can't.
I object to her testimony, she's not credible.
Oh, you don't feel she's credible because,
I don't think she could see, I also don't think she could see what actually happened. That is my objection.
Okay.
Mr. Do I call you officer? What do people call you? Officer Mizell?
Be
I don't
Officer
think-
myself.
Pardon?
Officer myself.
Officer Mizell, thank you for the work you do. I'm from Los Angeles.
You were welcome.
Yes, appreciate it. So, there's two declarations, and I'm sorry, I pulled them from where they were, but I think you'll recognize them. It's just the sideways, don't ask it, you let me roll them, but may I show that to you? Sure. One of them is yours. It just looks different. I think it's exactly from that section. And this, like I said, I printed out with. This is, Mr. Riccobano. It looks like this was incorporated into this. It's verbatim. Not all of it, but I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to understand which is his testimony and which is yours.
This is his testimony. Since I'm not a witness, I'm taking what he is saying. As far as I don't have any other proof of what happened besides from what he saw and what he is stating.
That's why it was.
That's why yes.
Okay, I just think we have to be clear, and it sounds like
so we got a
Officer
witness
Mizell.
statement and an overview of the case.
with the
Yes.
witness thing is somewhat incorporated. I just-
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you. That's it. And then I have a couple other questions for you. You did say you had a history with Apollo. One thing that Ms. Marlowe wants to point out is you did not discuss the 2022 incident with the owner, Ms. Marlowe. Is that correct? I'm sorry, is that true or not?
So, in 2022, I was actually the responding officer, and at that point in time, I thought Apollo was Gary Mitchell's dog.
But isn't it registered? I don't know who asked. Didn't he have a city license, or did he have a license? Wouldn't it show the owner?
So, to my recollection, I was unaware. I have come across Gary Mitchell multiple times, and he has always had a Apollo license. So,
No, it's a reasonable assumption, I'm just.
Yeah.
It would have been good to talk to the owner, is what I'm saying, and
But
she.
in answer to her question, you
I did not.
did not speak to her.
The other thing is, I think it's important, Officer Mizell, to bring up some of your history with, Gary Mitchell and.
I don't want to get into that. So if there's any issues with animal control,
No, I know that. I
there
know
are
that.
venues to take care of that. If there's any issues with him and unless you're alleging that he falsified his statement, he's falsifying his testimony, something like that, I really don't want to get into any personal issues, okay?
Personal, but okay, for now, I'll leave that.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
got a couple of questions. So, car leaves, right? So we got the Subaru, so when we're over at the parking lot, area, we got the Subaru that leaves. And then next thing you're talking is like, did she come back to the scene?
I'm sorry,
The,
Mrs. Marlar?
Yeah.
She was already on scene when I arrived, I believe. So she was already there, and Gary was there.
and the Subaru and both dogs?
Yes.
Very
At least for my recollection.
From the recollection?
No,
And you speak to 3 dogs being
Correct.
so we have the 2 big dogs. Who's the 3rd dog?
Unknown. So the third dog is, from what we could tell, from, the person was already gone by the time my officer arrived to the scene. So I honestly, I don't have any way to answer that, besides I was told that there was 3 dogs that were there.
And somebody told you that three dogs attacked him? That
Somebody told me that there was 3 dogs that were there.
3 dogs were there?
That were there, that Apollo did the attacking.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ricobono's declaration says 3 dogs attacked.
3 dogs attacked him. Yes, and that's why I'm trying to figure
That's
out.
where you saw that.
I'm trying to figure out who the 3rd dog is.
Yes.
At one, I'm sorry, he said that at one point, just something else later.
Okay, we'll get to that. Well, I'll clear it up when Mr. Ricobono comes in.
Okay.
And we'll try and clear all the dogs.
Uh,
I have nothing else.
Just a general comment.
Yeah.
Eyewitness testimony,
Oh.
people only are able to testify what they recall. So, there is going to always be discrepancies in every eyewitness testimony.
Absolutely.
So, discrediting a witness based on their recollection of the event, I don't think is valid grounds.
I agree with you.
And I think that the hearing officer can take into account the differences in the testimony and provide the weight given to each testimony based on the determination of the hearing officer. So just a couple of follow-up questions. During the 2022 incident, and I don't want to get into that much, but did Mr. Mitchell ever indicate who the actual owner of Apollo was?
No.
So you had no way at that moment, when you're at the scene, you had no way to know that Ms. Marlar was or was not the actual owner of Apollo.
Thank you for clarifying that.
And then I believe that you said that to the best of your recollection, when you arrived at the scene at Target, there were already sheriff's officers present.
Excuse me, can you silence that?
It's not me.
I thought, well, your phone was ringing earlier too, so I believe.
What are we looking for?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So when you arrived at the scene at Target, Placer County Sheriff's officers were already present.
Correct. To my recollection, I followed a Placer County deputy into the target.
And to the best of your recollection, the Subaru that Ms. Marlar was driving.
Guys, I'm gonna
was
pause
still
this really
present.
quick.
I do believe so. My first initial contact was with Mr. Mitchell. So I wasn't exactly sure where Apollo was or where the Subaru was at first when I was there.